does your portfolio look like today?
Dude, my portfolio is wild today, but it's not normal. This is not a normal period for me.
Sure.
And, you follow me a little bit. So you know that, every decade or so, there's like a generational opportunity. If the change is happening really quickly, then there's even a bigger opportunity. So big changes that are happening quickly are the biggest opportunities for investors, but they don't happen very often. So you go back late 90s, after I graduated college, the dot-com boom, that was one of those times, right? And the birth of the smartphone, that was one of those times. Cloud computing, another one of those times. And certainly there's, I just turned 50, guys, like a couple months ago. And I never thought I would see in my lifetime this much change that is this big, like as humanity, this quickly. It's freaking wild to me. Actually, during the pandemic, when COVID hit, that was my biggest year. Everyone knows that because it was the biggest change that had ever happened to our civilization and during our lifetimes, right? When you take every human on earth and they start not leaving their home, that changes the things that they buy, changes the things that they do with their money, the things that they care about, which changes the profits for every company on earth, right? And that was a huge opportunity to monetize. I didn't think I'd ever see that again. This is bigger. The age of artificial intelligence, the age of robots. This is freaking wild.
So is this a way to say that your portfolio is skewed heavily towards what you believe is a once-in-a-decade opportunity?
Yeah, maybe once in a lifetime at this point. Yeah. And so I'm really putting myself out there. Dude, I went all in when ChatGPT first came out. Do you remember the first time you got on ChatGPT?
When was it? 2 years ago? A year ago,
Yeah.
Give or take?
I got on ChatGPT and I do this. And I remember this because I remember the first time I held an iPhone in my hand.
Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was, and it wasn't mine. They were passing it around at a pool party, and it was like the week the iPhone came out, and I spent like 5 minutes on it. And I was like, oh, this is something. This is something. And I made the most levered investment of my life in Apple at the time, and it paid off, obviously. And when I got on ChatGPT for the first time, I was like, dude, this is something real. And I'll never forget it because Dave was out of town and Jordan wasn't. I was like, Jordan, I don't know how to get the YouTube show up because Dave does all that stuff, right? So I was like, I don't know how to get Dumb Money up. And I was like, but I can get a Twitter Spaces up. We got to get one up today. I just got to talk to people who've been on this. And I got to start evaluating opportunities. And so we got on a Twitter Spaces, and I think it went on for like 2.5 hours. And we were just openly talking to people that were using ChatGPT and just basically going through like a creative session of who would win from this, who would lose from this. I was like, I didn't know how much time we had before the rest of the market figured this out. It could be a day, a week, a month, but I had to figure it out quick. Because if there were a couple companies that were obvious beneficiaries and I could detect those companies before anyone else, that could be a life-changing thing. So we had that Twitter Spaces, and it was awesome. Like I had people that were using it at call centers, and I had a guy who's like, hey, I've been in call centers for 20 years. We started using it a couple of weeks ago. Game changer. It's going to take over everything. Our entire industry is going to collapse and like get taken over by these automated kind of AI answer bots. And so we just kind of brainstormed, and I ultimately made a decision, and I did an episode on this on Dumb Money. I was like, NVIDIA. It's the only thing I could think of for sure. I just said, this is it. I'm going all in on NVIDIA. That was like January of 23.
What do you mean, what do you mean by all in?
Yeah. So when I all in, like a big part of my portfolio was in on NVIDIA. Now I didn't leverage that much. And the reason why I didn't go in levered is because I was unsure the degree to which the rest of the market would like pick up on that over a known period of time. So when I'm trading an option, options have, windows, and something has to happen within that time period. So you could be right, but if the rest of the world doesn't kind of come to terms with that thing that you found and agree with you within that short window of time, then it doesn't really matter. So my regret is, I didn't go in levered. I just went in really. That's
your regret? Is you didn't go in
I didn't go in levered. You don't know me, man. I will put, like I've talked about this, like right now, like dude, if you were to see my account the last week, you wouldn't even believe it. It's just
Can you tell us?
Yeah, I mean, I've been heavily levered in Tesla for last month heavily, like ridiculously, irresponsibly leveraged.
What is, but okay, I'm curious though, like when I hear that, I think that could be anywhere from like 15% of your net worth to it could be
okay.
50.
Are we talking like 10 million plus?
So I have a liquid trading account.
Okay.
Most of my assets are tied up in privates, right? So I'm invested in like over 100 private companies and startups. I also have operating businesses that I'm invested in. And then any excess returns I get, I basically donate to my foundation. I have a foundation that benefits, pediatric cancer, autism, leukemia, and animal welfare. And that's another big part of my life. I'm trying to grow that into a $1 billion foundation. So I put millions of dollars into that foundation when I have a good year. But my liquid trading account is not that, it could be a high 7-figure to low 8-figure account at any moment in time, right? And so I've had like 20% of the account in options that would go to zero the next day if it didn't go my way. So we're talking about millions of dollars in options that could go to zero in one day. And it started out as like 300,000 in options, but then it's 2 million 2 days later, So it's wild to see your account going up like that.